Sorry a second. Okay, are we live? Okay, alright, we are live, I guess then. We are going to get right into things as welcome. I would like to welcome everyone back to the final day of matches for the 5-digit United States Cup round of 32. For today's match on the B stream over here, we do have SoCal B versus Michigan B. So 7th seed versus the 26th seed coming into the last match of the round of 32. It is going to be another lopsided match, as we've seen quite a lot of those in the round of 32 so far. Sort of the nature of these early stage matches, you know, you sort of just have to get through these types of things. Notably, I hate to obviously be sounding like we're calling things before they've even started, but perhaps I should just get right into introducing the rosters, and we'll see why exactly that is. So, on the side of Michigan, we'll start with them, as they are the lower seeds, so give them the first honors. A lot of the players are new to the United States Cup, most of them coming from the Michigan Open Tournament 2, or MOT2. I'm not entirely sure on what the abbreviation means, I'm just sort of making an assumption there. But yes, lots of players in MOT2 was quite a big event this year, actually. Huge props to the organizers over there and the state organizer for Michigan for 5USC. Amazing tournament, bringing up lots of new talent, lots of new players, just getting more and more people engaged in the tournament scene. So, of course, wonderful not only for the Michigan scene itself, but also for the broader tournament scene in general, as we just get more and more players involved in the tournaments. Overall, looking at the general team composition and some of their scores from qualifiers, their scores on the easy and hidden 2 stand out above the others, as well as their scores specifically on the DTs and the Nomad 2. Other Nomads, not so great, but we'll go ahead right into introducing the players. First off, we have their captain, Microwave Brick. Very much so a hidden player who can also play mechanics, so we'll likely see them in for those. They had a little bit of activity in 2024, just a little bit of tournament activity there, and then they were actually discovered in the aforementioned MOT2. As we are going to get right into the warm-ups here, they are on your screen over in that bottom left, so that'll be Microwave Brick. Following them up is going to be Astonish, also known as Ensokia, as I believe they changed their name not too long after the qualifiers over to Ensokia at the moment. They are brand new to tournaments. They did not even play in the MOT2 tournament, according to what I looked up. But they are, once again, another hidden and Nomad mechanics player, so another player for that skill set for this Michigan roster. Brand new to tournaments from what I saw, the 5USC being their first tournament ever. So we'll see how exactly they do here and what kind of talent they can show us. Next up on the Michigan side, we have Papa Flame. They are very clearly a DT player, so good to have someone to sort of fill that main role and be a strong anchor point for that modern skill set. And they were also introduced to tournaments via MOT2. It looks like they've played a couple other tournaments or maybe qualifiers here and there, maybe also a couple bot matches, either from ROM AI or ETX. Since then, but another player relatively new to the tournament scene. We'll see not only how they perform, but also how their nerves are looking, as that is going to be quite a large focal point for these newer players on the Michigan side, and we'll see just how those nerves affect them on this first stage after the qualifiers. Of course, round of 32 being actual matches, quite a different environment from the qualifier lobby environment, so it is something to look out for on that side. Next up for Michigan, we have on the sticks. He's going to be their HR players, one of 2 HR mains. They are fairly balanced on the other skill sets as well, so we could see them almost a little bit of perma-lobbing or just sticking around to fill on other mods as well. And on the sticks, is quite experienced. They are one of the veterans of the team, actually. They've been playing tournaments since 2022. They played 6WC Minor League in 2023 as well, and it looks like they also played for Michigan A last year. So returning once again to the Michigan 5USC roster, this time finding a slot on the B team to lead this team, this roster of youngins. And next up, we have another veteran of the team. It's going to be Gabercat. They are going to be a hidden and mechanics player. It looks like they also play a lot of hidden DT in solo play, so we could see them in for some of those DT picks as well. And they are actually new to USC, although they do have activity prior to 2024, and it sounds like they've actually played 6WC going all the way back to 2021 as well. So a little bit more experience on Gabercat as well. Gabercat and On the Six looking to be a couple of the more anchor players that this team was built around. You know, a couple of the veterans that the newbies can sort of, the rookies can sort of rely on to be solid in those lobbies for them. And then finally, rounding out the roster, it is going to be Dester Kane, another Hard Rock player, decent on other mechanics, so we could see them filling in for some of those no-mod picks as well, and maybe even some of those DT picks. They do have relatively sparse tournament activity, as well as ETX play since approximately 2024, but I believe they might have had some other stuff before that as well. Anyway, that is it for the Michigan roster. So around half of the team newbies, 2 players very new, and then 2 players with a lot of experience, and then 2 players who are sort of somewhere in the middle there in terms of their tournament experiences there. Overall, it looks like a pretty decent spread of skill sets across each mod, so they should be fair, and their qualifier scores did support that, other than a little bit of a hole in their no-mod scores outside of no-mod 2. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly they can do here. Now, going over to the other side of lobby on SoCal B. This team, obviously coming in here as the 7th seed, heavy favorites to win the match, and these are some heavy hitters. Going from the top down, we have Ocean Boy 98, also known as simply just Ocean Boy. They are going to be in the lobby for basically every single hidden map. They have an incredibly long tournament history. They actually started off playing DT in the early parts of the career, but they got worse over time. And they also played B Team for SoCal last year. And other than that, they just have a ton of ETX and ROM AI bot matches, lots of scrims as well being played. I believe that was for 5WC USA scrims as well. And then just a whole plethora of other tournament experience under their belt. So long tenured player. They're going to be incredibly reliable on the hidden mod, and we should see them posting very high scores on those hidden picks. Second up is the team captain. That's going to be Charo, also known as Calculus in some places, but it looks like they're sticking with the Charo name for this tournament, as you can see in your upper left-hand corner of the screen. They are also absolutely cracked on hidden. So we should definitely see them in combination with Ocean Boy for a lot of the hidden picks in this pool. They also have a lot of tournament history going back to 2020, including the 5WC 2022 B team and the 5USC 2022 A team. So a lot of high-profile tournament experience for the 5-digit rank range of tournaments. They actually did take a little bit of a break for the entirety of 2023, but they did return the following year, and they did play for C Team as well that year in 5USC. So looking to continue their return to tournament play in this year's iteration of 5USC. Next up on the SoCal side, we have Mue Celesta, also known as Crickhard in some places. I don't believe we see them on screen, so we will see what exact name they have chosen for today's match. They do appear to be a hidden main in solo play, and they are generally just quite good on everything, it looks like. So I'm expecting them to sort of be able to fill out the team's final third player slot as needed. They did play Hard Rock for this team in qualifiers, notably Hard Rock being one of the skill sets that this team is a little weaker on, as noted also in the prediction streams for the tournament. Before the tournament started, this team was pointed out to have a bit of a gaping hole in that Hard Rock skill set. So we'll see what exactly they will be playing here today, as we see a little bit of 2B action on your screen here with some of these sliders. Bit of a strange warm-up. I'm not sure which team sent this in here, but it is certainly one of the maps of all time we have here for a warm-up. Anyway, moving on to the next player in the SoCal roster. It is CAC I am me. And this player, from what I hear, they are a very hot and cold player. They've been playing tournaments since 2021, and they played the B team for 5USC in the second iteration of the tournament, and they actually skipped out on the previous year in 2024 in 5USC3. However, they do play lots of ETX bot-based matchmaking, so I do expect them to be fairly warm and prepped for this tournament. And they do seem to be a Hard Rock player, so filling out that weaker gap. And then rounding out the roster, we have Latte, and Ayoko, HR and DT players, respectively. Ayoko notably also having played Hard Rock in the past, but not really so much since 2024, although they did fill in Hard Rock for the qualifiers, so Ayoko and Latte, expect to see them both in on the Hard Rock NDT. Ayoko having a bit of sparse tournament play since 2022, and this is actually their first time playing 5USC. And Ayoko on the other side, on the other hand, they've been playing tournaments since 2020, so a lot of tournament experience, and it looks like they might have made 5WC last year as well. I'm not entirely sure. Just looking at the records, it wasn't entirely clear. However, they do play lots of ETX and ROM AI bot-based matchmaking, as well as a plethora of other smaller tournaments, so I expect them to be very well prepared coming into 5USC here. And overall, the SoCal B team, lots of hidden, lots of tapping, very solid across the board, except a little bit of a gap on that Hard Rock, but they seem to have it decently plugged, and their baseline scores, even from qualifiers, look fairly solid. So if anything, it would be the location, it would be the skill set that Michigan would try to prod around on and try to attack and expose as a weakness on the SoCal side. But it is going to be a difficult match regardless, simply just due to the difference in raw skill, which is represented by that gap in the seeding. Anyway, we are getting right into the bans, with SoCal giving the first ban on that Hard Rock one, so just covering their weakness, their main weakness there. Nothing super out of the ordinary, very expected. Michigan gonna be banning the Hidden 2 and the Free Mod 1, so surprisingly leaving the Easy Mod up on the table. Notably, Michigan did have quite a decent performance on Easy, as well as also the Hidden 2 in qualifiers. Most likely the Hidden 2 performance from SoCal just a little bit too much for them to try and tackle, and just gonna try and hedge their bets on that Easy Mod, it seems like. As I'm looking at the seeding for Easy Mod in the qualifiers, and SoCal B, they were a little bit weaker comparatively, I suppose. They can definitely still play the skill set, but simply based off of the scores, it does make sense that they would ban the Hidden 2 that I believe SoCal placed second for the minor league in terms of seeding, and they actually placed second overall, with Texas B being the top seed on that Hidden 2 in qualifiers. So no surprises there. In fact, actually, in retrospect, this hidden ban, very expected. SoCal gonna be banning out the Hard Rock 2, just fully banning out that Hard Rock pool, as double bans are allowed. So that Hard Rock pool, that one weakness that Michigan might have been able to try and attack, has just been fully eliminated from the ban phase. And it will be the first pick to Michigan, so we'll see how exactly they try and attack this SoCal roster. I would think they would try and go into the free mod 2, assuming that's another, simply because that's another one of those high CS maps, so they can force one of the SoCal players to play that hard rock. However, SoCal are not necessarily, they are not at all, in fact, incompetent on hard rock, as they do have a few players who can play hard rock. It's just that as a team overall, they might be a little bit lacking when it comes all the way down to who is going to be filling that third player slot. So free mod 2, perhaps one of the better angles that Michigan B can try to attack this SoCal roster. Other than that, Michigan did do quite well on the DTs as well as the no mod 2. So those are potential picks for them as well, I would say. Although SoCal is very strong on the tapping. They did seem decent on the DT as well. So it will be interesting to see how they attack. And it is going to be the DT1 pick coming out. SoCal placing 9th on the DT1 in qualifiers. And of course, this is one of those aim maps that these lower seeds will have to try and abuse when trying to tackle on these higher seeds. Obviously, as we all know, anyone can miss on 5-star aim, as we've seen multiple times so far in the tournament already. So we'll see if this aim gamble pays off, and perhaps if this doesn't work out, maybe they'll just have to go with the no mod 1 as well, try and take the same aim-based Gamba angle. But we'll see when that comes. We'll cross that road when we get there. For now, it is going to be the DT1. Bit of an older anime song, actually, from Kill la Kill. I believe that came out in 2013 or something. It's been, I'm pretty sure, I want to say it's been over a decade since the anime for this came out. And actually, because of that, some players in this tournament might not have even been born, depending on the exact year this anime was released. But yeah, classic anime, very nice song sung by Sawai Miku. And I'm not sure what we're waiting on. I believe maybe just the players getting into the lobby. Looking at the rosters that we have so far, on the SoCal side, it is going to be Ayoko, Latte, and I Am Me. So I Am Me, decent on the DT. It looks like they're coming in to fill out here. Latte, obviously a strong DT player. And Ayoko also, they're absolutely cracked DT pro. So no surprise to see them in the lobby for this first pick either. As you are going to head right into it. Right into the action. Michigan, on the side of Michigan, we have Papa Flame, one of their DT mains, as well as Gabercat. Notably, he did look a little bit weaker on DT in the stats, but I'm sure because of their wealth of tournament experience, they can play something like this just fine, especially when this map is only AR10. You know, nothing like the AR 10.2 above AR 10 that we would see in the later stages or like we saw in qualifiers. Papa Flame going to be finding the early break here. Unfortunate to see on one of their DT mains. Rounding out the Michigan roster in the lobby, we do have Ensokia here, also known as Astonish. They did look a little bit weaker on DT in the stats, so a little bit surprising to see them in here. And Gabercat, one of the veterans for this team, already going to be finding a break in this first Ki, as Ensokia will follow it up. Latte, the only trade coming out on the side of SoCal, and this first gamble perhaps not working out, as both I Am Me and Ayoko are going to close out this first Ki sections with their full combo still intact. No combos remaining on the side of Michigan, as they're going to have to just start working on those recoveries, but in the meantime, these two full combos are going to continue to build, and it's turning out to 150k score lead for the side of SoCal at the moment. Ayoko will drop that full combo though, and it is just going to be I Am Me on the remaining combo. Latte also struggling to build some sort of recovery as we enter this pre-chorus. right into this course on those 1-2s. Everyone going to hold. No, in fact, Papa Flame and Gaber Cat going to drop at the end of those. So it is only in SoCal on the recovery, and we are just seeing this score lead continue to grow as I Am Me holding at full combo. Actually just going to drop there, but SoCal, the only combos remaining in the lobby. Perhaps the growth of this score lead will finally start to slow. They can finally start to stem the bleeding, but going into this first break here, they see Latte and Papa Flame the only combos in the lobby, but overall, combos super low. It's going to take a lot for this first map to go back to the side of Michigan. And overall, I think we're just seeing the difference in seeding and perhaps a little bit of nerves over on the side of Papa Flame, as they are quite new to the tournament scene, as well as on the side of Ensokia, also one of the newer players here. Perhaps a bit more surprising, Gaber Cat also finding a little bit of instability here, despite being one of their veterans. It looks like everyone is going to be quite comfortable into this final section. Gaber Cat, the only one to break as we enter this last TI. But it is just going to be a stable score lead at 300k as SoCal look to take this first break point. The song is just about to wrap up, and there should just be no more song left for Michigan to make anything happen. And that is going to be the break point over to SoCal, as we have a little bit of a screecher there at the end of the map. Not sure what happened there, but stream has recovered nicely. Overall, fairly low miscounts on the side of Michigan, just perhaps finding one too many slider breaks. And of course, on the side of SoCal, you know, I Am Me holding that combo for so long, and the other players also holding combos. If you look at these max combos, 541 for Ayoko, a little over 500 for Latte as well. Meanwhile, a little bit more struggle in terms of trying to hold that combo together on the side of Michigan. So this was a little bit of a longer DT pick, a DT1 pick, a little bit over 3 minutes, which would mean that a song without DT is something like almost 5 minutes, I think. So perhaps a little bit of the consistency coming into play there. Things not working out for Michigan. But the miscounts do show good signs. They are quite promising for the side of Michigan. So, you know, just clean a couple more things up and maybe they can show some good scores here. Anyway, it is going to be the No Mod 4 pick coming out on the side of SoCal. We have seen this map be hard. This map is hard. We even had a little bit of an incident in the Major League as well with, you know what, we'll just leave that there. We had a couple, we had an incident in the Major League with one of the players on this map, and yeah, it's quite difficult. It's very easy to break in these TIs, you know, very fast-paced slider aim, a little bit of reading in there as well as the rhythm changes when the wubs go wub, you know, as it is one of those wub maps we have here, No Mod 4 Tech. And we have seen this map be a little bit of a skill cap check used by these higher seeded teams against the lower seeds. So it's going to be a difficult one for Michigan. But hey, we have seen some incidents even in the major leagues as well, so perhaps we could see a little bit of an incident here on the side of SoCal. As for the song itself, it's going to be Hydra by Zana and Delina. Zana, perhaps most well known for being a featured artist who did the No Mod 4 for the OWC 2023 Grand Finals. That was an absolute banger mapped by Altai. This one is going to be quite similar, I would say. Also going to be that fast-paced slider tech aim, a little bit of a slower BPM, obviously, than what we saw in that OWC map, that being around, I believe it was 225 BPM slider tech. This one much slower in the more reasonable 170, 180 range. Anyway, we do have the GLHFs coming out in the chat, and it looks like the rosters have been finalized. So over on the side of SoCal, coming in for this match, we have Mioi Celesta, also known as Crickard. You know, just above average overall on all sorts of mechanics picks. So not super surprised to see them in here either. See them in here. Ocean Boy, obviously one of the just best players in the lobby. Ocean Boy alongside Charo, supposedly a couple of the anchors of the SoCal team, of the SoCal roster. So for a skill check type of pick like this, I'm not too surprised to see them here. Over on the side of Michigan, as we do start with a bit of slower section here, we are going to be seeing On the Sticks. So once again, On the Sticks, probably the most tenured veteran on this Michigan roster. And we will, in fact, not be seeing Gabercat, one of the other veterans. I would think we would see them for a more gimmicky type pick like this, but it looks like we won't be, as it is going to be Insokia, the absolute rookie to tournaments, coming into the lobby here alongside Dester Kane. So Dester Kane, normally an HR player, looks to be decent on overall and other types of mechanics, but we'll see how they do and how this Michigan roster is tested as we are right into this first TI. And you can just see, as you've seen all weekend so far, I'm sure, this TI section is aggressive, as we are going to see breaks coming out right away from Charo and Sokia and Dester Kane. So 2 full combos to 1 still remaining in favor of SoCal B here. And in fact, it is going to be On the Sticks dropping their combo as well. So no more combos remaining on the side of Michigan. And this is, I mean, I would just say this is another seed gap, another mechanics gap as we've seen from the higher seed against the lower seed. Yuri Celesta and Ocean Boy still holding on to those full combos as we start to approach the end of this first TI section. And we are going to enter the break, and the players will see that those are the only 2 full combos remaining in the lobby. 200,000 score to the good from SoCal at the moment, and Yuri Celeste is actually going to break on nothing, I believe. That was perhaps a slider break or just misreading the flow aim or something. So it is going to be Ocean Boy with that lone FC remaining in this a little bit of a slower section. I say slower, but it is still fairly energetic, and now we finally reach a bit of a slower part of the song. Recovery combos actually coming quite nicely on the side of Michigan, as they do all hold through the slower section of the map. And as they enter the break, they will see, each one of them will see that their teammates are also holding their combo quite nicely. And here comes that next TI section. Yuri Celeste finding a break at the start, and that is good news for Michigan, for sure. But Ocean Boy still on this full combo, that is not going to be good news, as they alone are holding down the fort for SoCal. They're gonna finally get a break as Charo breaks as well, but Sokia and Dester Kane are also going to trade, so On the Sticks alone going to have to pull back this 300,000 combo lead, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. They're going to need to find some sort of chain misses on the side of SoCal. Yuri Celeste also finding a break though. This could be big, but no, On the Sticks is also going to drop their combo. And with that, there go any hopes of a break point, as we are approaching the end of this No Mod 4. Just around a 1/6 of the song left. The song is still quite energetic towards the end, but not even chain misses at this point could bring back 300,000 score. As SoCal looking quite a bit more comfortable. Ocean Boy on that insane combo. I believe it was over 1,000 at some point. And Yuri Celeste also putting up a solid combo. And once again, higher seed taking this No Mod 4 pick. Glue point to the side of SoCal B. And the skill cap check is going to work out in favor of them. Notably, On the Sticks only finding a single miss in that map. That is quite impressive, as even the players on the side of SoCal finding 6 and 10 misses on the side of Yuri Celeste and Ocean Boy respectively. You know, after those full combos, perhaps the nerves getting to them a little bit. But as you know, we are playing a combo game here, and unfortunately, Michigan not able to find the break point. But perhaps fortunately for them, it will be their pick next. So a little bit of a consolation prize here to them, as that was the first pick of SoCal. So perhaps expected to lose that map as well. So I would imagine there's 2 potential ways that Michigan could take this. They could try and continue to attack that DT pool, or they could go with the same aim Gamba lower seed angle. Of course, the free mod 2 also still another option, as they could try and abuse that Hard Rock weakness, as their own Hard Rock player can perhaps try to beat out SoCal's. And then at that point, you're just praying that your Nomad and Hidden players can hold their own. But it's going to be it's going to be the easy one pick coming out from Michigan, and that is perhaps a bit of a spanner in the works. You know, the SoCal team supposedly being lots of Hidden and tapping, but just because they're good at Hidden, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean they're amazing at reading? This low AR dense reading. Notably, this Easy is a lot more dense than the one we saw in qualifiers, although it is also a lot shorter in turn. So there's less to memorize, but it's perhaps more difficult to memorize. However, it is an easy one pick, so of course the amount of hours that you actually put into practicing this map is going to impact your potential score a lot. And if you simply just practice it to hell, then I can easily see a lot of these more reading-oriented players just straight up SSing it in lobby and not having too much variation from that expected result of theirs. So we'll see just how much practice Michigan has put into this pick, and hopefully SoCal, not for their own sakes, not getting caught off guard by this. They did, despite their slightly lower score on the Easy, they did still have quite a decent seed on this coming out of qualifiers, you know. 9th seed out of qualifiers, 900,000 team score. And then if you go ahead and look at Michigan here, as I look for their stats, they placed 12th, so actually not too far behind SoCal at 700,000 score difference. So perhaps this is very much so an expected pick coming out from their side, as it was only a 200,000 score gap and a difference of, I believe, 3 seeds, if I'm counting correctly. Yeah, 3 seed difference and just under 200,000 score gap coming out of qualifiers. But we are getting right into the action on the side of SoCal. In fact, I'm going to just skip the player introductions as this is such a short map. 1 minute 48 seconds, 189 BPM. Obviously, because it's easy, it is going to be a little bit lower of a star rating, sitting there at 4.48. And we're going to see a couple of early breaks here from Ensokia and Charo. So it is going to be the trades, but the other players in the lobby, actually Miori Celeste also finding a break in this first half of the map, supposedly the easier half of the map, in fact, and it is just going to be Ocean Boy with that full combo remaining on the side of SoCal. Papa Flame still holding the SS, alongside Gabercat sitting at 99.63 accuracy. I believe they may have just found a single 100 early on in there. And Sokia finding a break, however, as Charo does manage to bring together a nice recovery combo here, and we're going to get into that first break section. It is a very small lead of just 23,000 score to the side of SoCal, but remember, it is that easy mod. This map is very short, and the score lead is going to be cut in half, so you do have to, thanks to that easy multiplier, so you do have to keep that in mind. It's going to be some misses coming out of the break here for the side of SoCal, as Mior also, I believe, found a backshot break, but Charo finding real breaks, and Sokia going to be trading, and Pepper Flame finally breaking that full combo, breaking that SS, but Gabercat still holding on to that full combo alongside Ocean Boy, and I think it's just this supporting combo out of Mior Celeste as we head into this ending section of the map. SoCal barely managing to run away with this, as Michigan B are going to collapse in the second half. This score lead, 100,000. Mior Celeste breaking at the end, but it's not going to matter. And Michigan going to drop their point once again. SoCal B finding the break point. Unfortunately, the full combo, despite it coming out for Gabercat, not going to matter, as they do find a couple of dropped slider ends as well, perhaps that impacting their score a bit. Ocean Boy matching the FC, however, on the side of SoCal. And the other scores, perhaps Ensokia not putting enough practice into this map, or maybe even just being forced to fill on this. As when you do see something in that 50k range or below, it usually means you're just not ready to play the map. C rank coming out of them as well. So SoCal perhaps just a little bit more depth on this pick. And the easy one gamble not going to work out for Michigan. It was a little bit close one there, and it did look quite scary for SoCal, especially coming out of that break. So, quite a good try from the side of Michigan, I would say. So, next pick is going to go over to the side of SoCal B. We'll see just how they try to continue their rampage as they are sitting up 3-0, finding 2 breakpoints already and looking to consolidate with another glue point of theirs. It is going to be the free mod 2 pick, and I was expecting to see this pick coming out on the side of Michigan, so perhaps the Hard Rock player on the side of SoCal feeling confident on this. Obviously, because it is our free mod 2, it is going to be the anti-mod CS5 AR8. So Hard Rock players going to be forced onto that CS 6.5, and hidden players on that AR8 hidden reading. There is a little bit of awkward aim on this, but of course at the star rating that the pool is at, it's not going to be too awkward and it's not going to be too difficult. Notably easy multiplier of 1.7. Both of these teams seemingly able to play reading, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see an easy mod coming out perhaps on the side of Michigan, although these hidden players on the side of SoCal are just so strong. Excuse me. These hidden players on the side of SoCal are just so strong, like they are a hidden team, very much so. I wouldn't be surprised to see both Ocean Boy and Charo coming in for the hidden overmod, and it looks like that's what we're going to be seeing at the moment, as we'll see Latte probably rounding out the roster with the Hard Rock. We could see one of the other Hard Rock players like IMME or Ayoko coming in here, but Latte certainly would make the most sense. Over on the side of Michigan, Papa Flame, I'm not sure. Okay, so Papa Flame will be leaving the lobby. Yeah, I wasn't sure what mod they would be taking here and what role they would be able to fill well. Microwave Brick, very much so, should be on that hidden. They do have decent mechanics to back them up, so should be fairly comfortable on this type of map with the hidden. Gaber Cat also coming in. They could be an overmod on the hidden. And actually, no, it's going to be Microwave Brick on the Hard Rock, despite their stats showing them looking a little bit weaker on that. So perhaps a little bit of a gamble on the fill. Destercane, the other Hard Rock on the side of Michigan, and Gaber Cat, as expected, on the Hard Rock. Destercane, Hard Rock player, so not too surprised to see them there as we are getting right into the action. And it is going to be that hidden overmod on the side of SoCal. So overmods for both teams, despite this being the anti-mod pick. And we are seeing a lot of early breaks here. Ocean Boy, Microwave Brick, and Gaber Cat already finding breaks. And I thought we saw a break from Latte, and we will actually see a break from Latte as I speak that into existence. Destercane is going to break as well, so no more full combos remaining on the side of Michigan. It's just Charo on that hidden full combo, and they are looking incredibly comfortable at over 99% accuracy. Just Latte looking a little bit uncomfortable on this Hard Rock, perhaps showing signs of the overall discomfort that the SoCal roster has for the Hard Rock. But their accuracy is going to be slowly recovering as they're actually going to find another break. Sad for them, but on the other side of Michigan, likewise, their Hard Rock player Destercane also struggling on this map with the accuracy, sitting at 87% at the moment. And Charo is just going to be holding that combo as we head into the latter half of this map. 300,000 score to the good. Microwave Brick finding a nice recovery alongside Destercane for the side of Michigan, but Charo and Ocean Boy holding these high combos, and just accuracy on the side of SoCal being the real difference maker here. You see those two high scores on the side of SoCal, both at over 99 accuracy. Meanwhile, on the side of Michigan, the two highest accuracies on their side are just 95 and 96. And that is likely making up a large portion of the score lead, as we are going to see Charo finally break, dropping the combo. But over on the side of Michigan, they will also be dropping those combos, and it looks like SoCal is just going to be securing their glue point, consolidating the break point, as the score lead is 800,000, climbing to 900,000 as we round out this map. So nice consolidation for SoCal, and perhaps it was a good thing that Michigan did not pick this earlier, as my prediction for this map was way off, in fact. Thinking back to the bans, Michigan did ban out that free mod 1, so perhaps a little bit of that preference was wanting to take away the ability to take those preference mods from SoCal. You know, despite this being the overmod, or despite this being the anti-mod, we did see an overmod from Charo and Ocean Boy. Two players who are very comfortable on Hidden, and perhaps due to the star rating of the pool, you know, the map being an anti-mod pick, not really mattering so much, they're just able to take the Hidden anyway. But it is going to be a quick DT2 pick coming out from the side of Michigan, as they are struggling to find some sort of footing in this match. Losing 4 points already. They did make their own picks quite close on the DT, on the easy one, at the very least. Just a little bit less consistent on the DT1. But they are going to be expanding into that DT pool, poking at what they can only assume to be one of the few weaknesses remaining on the SoCal roster. However, DT2, perhaps, I mean, this SoCal B roster, they may be a hidden roster first, but perhaps you could say second, they're also a tapping roster. So we'll have to see how exactly this plays out for Michigan. Maybe not the best DT pick that they could have chosen, but when you look at their other option for in the DT pool, it's that DT3 old style grid aim mapping, also on CS5. Very difficult map, and especially given that these are players who are newer to tournaments, I can only assume that they're also newer to OSU in general and not super used to that older style of grid aim mapping. So it really is pick or poison between these last two DT picks for them. Now, even if they do lose this map here, there is still the lower bracket to be played. So while things are looking bleak, there is some bright side to look forward to for Michigan. But despite that, they are still here. They are still in the lobby and fighting. So we'll have to see how they fight, how well they do here, as SoCal is looking to finish their 5-0 sweep, and Michigan is going to try and stop that. If they want to make something happen here, if they want to make a statement, it's got to be here right now on this DT2 pick. And we are going to get right into the map. It looks like a couple technical difficulties on the client side, but we should be in here soon enough. And once again, on the side of SoCal, it is going to be Ayoko on that DT as their DT Pro. You know, expected to see him in for all of these DT picks. Followed up by Miori Celesta and I Am Me. Miori Celesta, decent all-rounder, so not surprised to see them there. And then once again, I Am Me, another decent all-rounder, so solid team member to close out this roster from SoCal. Over on the side of Michigan, as we do get right into the action here, one early break on I Am Me as well, actually. Michigan's still holding 3 full combos together. We'll see how well that lasts. Gabriel Cat, one of the veterans of the team. I do believe we saw them in for DT1, so not too surprising to see them here for DT2. Papa Flame as well, their DT main, so no surprises there. And then Ensokia perhaps forced to be another fill for this. But it is an early lead to Michigan, as nobody's broken so far, and Ayoko and Gabriel are going to trade. In fact, Papa Flame and Mior Celesta also trading, so Ensokia, the sole remaining combo in the lobby on this DT2. The rookie, in fact, their very first tournament looking to hold this lead for Michigan, as I Am Me going to be the only possible recovery combo for the side of SoCal. But right now, Ensokia holds the only combo in the lobby. And this is absolutely huge for Michigan, as they could be finding the first point here. It is nearly a 300,000 point lead. SoCal finding some very strange breaks at the start of that first Ki section, as we are in a bit of a slower section of the map. But things can only get so slow, and I Am Me, that recovery on the side of SoCal That recovery combo inside of SoCal is going to break. SoCal have no more combos, and in Sokia, the rookie to tournaments and the newcomer to this Michigan B roster, looking to complete the full combo. Can they do it? It is nearly 600,000 score lead for Michigan in this third pick of theirs. This is incredible. This is already the end of the map. And Sokia, what a performance! The rookie coming in here, 1 million score, 95% accuracy, and still climbing into the end of the song. And it's over! 700,000 score lead, and Michigan find their first point of the match on the DT2, on the tapping pick against the tapping team. And what a collapse from SoCal, but what a pop-up from Insokia! What on earth was that? Unbelievable! And Sokia, in their first tournament ever, popping off in the round of 32 in their first match ever, as they've only been playing tryouts and qualifiers until now, with a full combo to take the match. That is absolutely insane. Oh my god. Michigan. I am at a loss for words right now. Because that is just incredible coming out of a newbie. And he is going to be that stalwart defender on the side of Michigan. The new fresh blood, the fresh-blooded, the young-blooded hero coming to their rescue. Stopping the sweep in its tracks. SoCal going to look to stomp out this resistance right away with another tapping pick. Although they did just lose on the DT2 tapping, so who knows what could happen at this point. No Mod 5 though, this particular No Mod 5 however, notably not too heavy on the tapping. It is 222 and at the star range you can't really find stuff that's too aggressive on tapping at this BPM. Notably, it is quite difficult on the aim, as in order to compensate for the tapping limitations, they do have to put a little bit of fast aim. So rather than spacing the speed on the stream, you're going to have to be, rather than looking at the space, or geez, I cannot speak at the moment. Rather than looking at the speed at which you can tap the burst patterns, we're going to be looking at the speed which you can aim from burst pattern to burst pattern. Notably, there is also some 1/3 action in these slower parts of the map, so we'll see how the players will handle the finger control there. But it is going to be Ayoko, their DT player, once again coming in for another tapping pick, and Ocean Boy as well, solid on the mechanics, and one of the anchors of their roster, alongside Miori Celesta. Another solid overall mechanics player. And for Michigan, we are going to be seeing Gabercat, another mechanics player on the sticks, another mechanics player, and Insokia, who will be finding an early break here, matched by Miori Celesta, but Gabercat also did find an early break as we head into this first Ki section, so it will be 2 full combos to 1 in the favor of SoCal. Ayoko going to find a break there on, perhaps on the aim there, on the sticks, will trade it out, so Ocean Boy the sole remaining combo, and perhaps Insokia with a little bit of nerves and shakiness coming off of that full combo from the previous match, shaking at the start of the map. We'll see if they can put together a nice recovery here, as they are starting to build, and Ocean Boy's also going to drop here. So these combos are fairly even, and I believe this 100,000 score lead will mostly come down to the differences in accuracy, as Ayoko and Miori Celeste both sitting at 97%, meanwhile Gabercat and On the Stick sitting at 91%, the 91-92% range. And as we head into this first break section, Michigan B actually going to dropping a lot of their combos. Meanwhile, Miori Celeste still holding on to that solid 500 combo there. And Ocean Boy, Miori Celeste breaking a nothing? What was that? Ocean Boy, the only remaining combo in the lobby at the moment. With a 200 score lead, SoCal are still looking fairly comfortable. Ocean Boy gonna break on the 1/3. And what is this? There's still plenty of time left in the map. This last KI section, if Michigan B can hold through this, we could be seeing a break point and a second win for Michigan here, as Ayoko and Murat's are both going to break. Fixa and Gabacat going to trade it back right away. And Sokia still holding on to that combo, and we'll see if he can pull out another clutch map. Once again, Your Celeste is still finding more breaks. Ocean Boy going to be that anchor though, still building that 300 combo as Ayoko and Mira Celeste are still struggling. And despite Insokia putting together another hero performance with this 500, nearly 600 combo and climbing, they will break at the last moment. And with this final section of the map just being a nothing burger, I believe that will be all she wrote for Michigan, putting up an incredible performance on that DT2. But on this No Mod 5, a little bit different flavor of tapping. And SoCal will be securing their glue point and the match, taking it 5-1. GG's. And what a surprise of a performance that was from Michigan. And Sokia, the newbie, coming out here on 2 different flavors of tapping maps, putting up an FC on DT2, and then another solid 600 combo on this No Mod 5. You know, you can look at the result, say it was 5-1, and sort of, you know, you sort of dust it off the shoulder, sweep it under the rug, saying it was nothing, saying it was expected. But Michigan managing to take a map off of the SoCal roster is definitely, there's definitely something to look out for in this Michigan B team as they look to make a lower bracket run. Especially this Insokia guy on the tapping picks. If you're in the lower bracket and you're having to face this Michigan team, you're going to want to look out for them. You're going to want to be on the lookout and watch your backs, because they are new. A lot of these players are new to tournaments, and they seem quite hungry for some victories. Of course, SoCal going to be moving on to the round of 32, where I believe they'll be facing Massachusetts B. A little bit of a funny story. Had the SoCal, I think it was the C team? Had the SoCal C team won their match as expected against Massachusetts, it would have been a friendly fire team kill, actually. It would have been SoCal versus SoCal in that upper bracket round of 16. But the other team, the C team, unfortunately losing their own match, so it will be SoCal B going up against Massachusetts in that next match in the round of 16. Michigan going to be dropping down to the lower bracket. So we'll see what kind of run they can put together there, as we did see quite a bit of promise from them, not only on the tapping picks, but also on the easy. And maybe, you know, if Ensokia keeps on putting that work in, keeps on practicing the easy maps, maybe he can become quite a solid fill on the easies in the future. So lots to look out for, and lots to take away from this match, lots to be happy about for the Michigan side. But of course, props to SoCal for taking the win. Congratulations to them. I believe that is going to be all for the matches. We do have a match going on at the A stream at the moment. I'm not sure if they're done, but we should know soon enough. And then, yes, sorry, Massachusetts C. Yes, SoCal B versus Massachusetts C in the round of 16. But yeah, GG's to everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Regarding the map pool showcase, I'm not sure when that will happen, so just be on the lookout in the announcements channel for when you get that stream notification. There should be something coming up in either tonight or tomorrow night. Just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, other than that, I believe we are done with the announcements. Once again, congratulations to SoCal for taking the victory. And that is all for the round of 32, in fact. So next time we see you, after it will be the map pool showcase, and then it will be round of 16. Thank you for joining me. I have been Bless, and we will see you next time.